Well, I'd like to call to order the work session, January 25th, 2021. We are not all present. We have Vice Mayor Stiff, who will not be attending, although he may call in I doubt he's going to do that for the work session. I'm making that assumption. Let me find out.
I just checked, he's not on yet.
He's not on yet. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and not wait, okay? All right, we only have one agenda item. I'd like to remind council that staff will be pausing intermittently to answer any question. First item is a discussion to provide direction to staff regarding the multifamily vacant commercial corners and industrial development on Bullard from Van Buren to I-10. Development Services Director Christopher Baker, Planning Manager Katie Wilkin, Economic Development Director Lori Gray, whole gang's here, and the Project Manager Harry Paxton. Staff, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to have a discussion with you tonight about three important policy questions. Tonight, Katie, Harry, Lori, and I would discuss with you the velocity of multifamily development in Goodyear, vacant commercial corners, as well as industrial development along Bullard from Van Buren to I-10. And we're going to pause between each one of these topics in order to facilitate and have some council discussion and direction. Before we begin tonight, just would like to set some context for the council. As you can see on the chart at the right, industrial construction activity has accelerated quite rapidly in the city of Goodyear to some 8.2 million square feet. There's been more than 9,200 jobs created, and as a result, the city of Goodyear is simply moving and pivoting from being a bedroom community to an employment center as well. What we are seeing in terms of multifamily interest and development is a byproduct of the growth and also the job growth that's being constructed in this or being implemented in the city. This chart here shows single-family permit growth from 2016 through 2020. This is a very healthy curve with no spikes or anomalies, and we're quite pleased with this rapid pace of growth. It clearly demonstrates that the city is a desirable location where we are building a quality community together, where people want to invest, live, and also raise a family.
Thank you.
So the next few slides are an update of data that we did provide to you back, I think, a year and a half ago now regarding multifamily growth. So in 2015, about 9% of our dwelling units were multifamily dwelling units. Today, with the growth we've had in both multifamily and single family, that's grown to about 13%. And then if we add in all those developments that are currently either under construction or in development review, we project that in a couple years, it could be 18% of our dwelling units being in the multifamily category. Last time we did also give you some information regarding the single-family rental or build-to-rent versus traditional garden-style apartment buildings. And just to provide an update on that data, about 16% of our multifamily units that are built are the single-family rental type products. And then you can see if we add in those under construction, it's about a quarter, plus those in development review, and then plus those in pre-apps, almost a third of our multifamily units would be the single-family rental type product. And just so you know, the numbers here are a little different because with the Goodyear data, we have real-time data, but when we compare ourselves to other cities, we have to look at other data sources, and it lags behind. This is 2019 assessor data that this is from. So again, the numbers aren't quite the same as what I just presented. But looking at how we compare to some other cities in the valley, currently with this chart, we'd be one of the cities that have one of the lower percentages of multifamily. And then if our projection came true, you could see the 18%, we'd be somewhere between Peoria and Mesa with the 18%. And again, this also demonstrates that there's not really a right answer with regards to what should the multifamily, single-family mix be. The communities across the valley vary greatly. Also, the other thing I should note too is the cities also change as time goes on. Sometimes one industry sees a boom, such as we're seeing a boom in industrial development in Goodyear, and we're seeing a boom in multifamily. So sometimes, you know, it can be a little off-center for a little while, but then the single-family catches up once you kind of go through that boom time too. And then we also provided a map of where some of these locations are. Just to give you a general idea, the black being areas where there are existing built multifamily developments. The yellow are some areas where we've had some pre-application meetings but haven't seen a formal submittal. Green are those in the development review process or possibly even under construction. And then the red are areas that have been zoned for multifamily, but they're not necessarily in the development review process currently. But that means they have entitlement to build as multifamily.
So, council, that was a kind of a brief overview of this sort of state of multifamily development in the city of Goodyear, what we historically have been, where we see ourselves moving forward based on conversations and pre-apps with the development community. And so we would like just to check in with council here at this point in time and see if you all approach or support our approach to support multifamily growth in the city of Goodyear, as long as it's in concert with the general plan. And then the second part of that question is to see if council has any concerns regarding multifamily along freeways.
Who would like to offer? Joe?
You know, I personally prefer, if we're going to put anything along the freeway and we can't get retail or commercial there, I'd rather see multifamily there than single-family housing. I believe over time, the traffic's going to get worse. It's going to get louder. If you put single-family homes along the freeway, I think you're just going to discourage it in those neighborhoods. I'm afraid may start on the downslide as a result of that being right next to the freeway. We've heard it now when we were putting in stuff on McDowell, even those homes that were quite a distance away from the freeway complaining about the noise, and it's not even at full capacity now. So I don't have a problem with multifamily, along the freeway, and I don't know what to say about the multifamily overall because I'm not sure where the saturation point is on there. I see 18% potential. That still seems to be on the lower end of some of the others. So I don't think we've hit saturation yet with those things. My biggest concern when we do the multifamily is that it's quality the facades, you know, a little bit of mix up, a little different look, as opposed to all having that gray tannish look, you know. That's what I would prefer. We get it, because the inside has to be able to be sold, you know. So if the inside's not set right, they're not gonna fill it, you know. So that, I guess, is on the developer. But the outside, what we see and what the neighborhood is, I'd like to see, you know, and I think we're getting better at some of the design guidelines for that, to mix that up where it's not all one standard price. So that's my thoughts.
I'd like an opinion on that kind of from all of you, on the tone of the outside, the color. I mean, do you like just the beige and the gray, or are you looking, so give them, we need to give them kind of direction tonight.
I don't like everything being brown. Yeah, I agree with what Joe said about, you know, mix it up when we see some with some architectural elements and along those lines, and how we have the single family units that are houses, but they go into the multifamily category, right?
Yes.
For our 18%. Yeah. So I think that gives a good stock. One thing after we're post-pandemic, because we have a lot of these projects in the one time when we did the gain events, we went to several of these places.
Mm-hmm.
If we could do something like that post-pandemic, I don't want anybody to think I'm talking super spreader here, but you know, I think it would be a good thing. Then we can tell people who come to us and have these concerns about, you know, these properties, you know, we've been there. I know a lot of them right now are closed down. You just can't walk in a lot of them. But if we could, as they're coming online before they get a lot of residents, so we could kind of help introduce those, because there's a lot of really, at least what they've been bringing here, they're very nice and very high quality. And what's our, I do have a question in there somewhere. What is our occupancy rate now?
Mayor, council, that's a great question. We don't keep track of multifamily occupancy rates. However, we did do a little bit of due diligence, and the best information that I have available is between 85 and 90% occupied.
Okay, and I've heard that a 2-bedroom is pretty pricey as well for some of these, just on line.
Yeah, of course, it varies by individual project. but
Service, yeah.
Right, right.
So I think